Hey guys, and welcome to my very long awaited May wrap up. I had a pretty atrocious reading month in May. I only finished 6 books. One of those was a physical book, one of those was a Kindle book, and the other 4 were audiobooks, so basically I barely did any reading at all, or at least that's what it feels like. I also, however, started my adult colouring book. Yes, that is the front cover that I've been colouring in, by the way. I noticed that this is fantastic. I've been colouring in with actual felt tip liners and there's been no bleeding through the page at all. It's absolutely fantastic. I've decided that because I'm going to be colouring this in for the amount of pages in here, several more months, I'd have thought, that at the end of each month in my wrap up I'll show you what I've managed to colour in each month as well. So as I said, this is what I've done this month. We'll just get a bit closer. There we are. It's very, very tiny detail, so it's very, very fiddly, this cover. Probably wasn't the best thing for me to start with on the colouring front, but I love just working through things in order. So I'm hoping in this month I will finish off the front cover, and then I'm thinking I'm going to leave the back till last because it's the back. I might move in onto that bit there. So now onto the one physical book I actually managed to read last month, and that was City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. I'm going to put this book to blame for why I didn't read much last month. I hated it. And I liked it in the end, but I hated the first half. I had to force myself to read it. It's definitely the weakest book. So yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of this one. I'd say I struggled to read a good, easily halfway of it. And then all of a sudden things started picking up a bit again and it all got a bit better. So in the end I gave it 4 stars because the ending did redeem it, but it's definitely the weakest of the series in my opinion. And I can't see me reading that one ever again. I'll possibly reread some of the other books in the series, but I don't think I'll be touching that one ever again. The next book I finished last month was another Cassandra Clare book, and that was Clockwork Prince. That one for me felt very slow going in the beginning. It's the second book in the Infernal Devices trilogy, by the way, if you weren't aware of that. It felt quite slow going for me, but once it got going I was really into it. And I also gave that one 4 stars, although I did like it considerably more than the City of Fallen Angels. Maybe City of Fallen Angels should have been 3.5. This is a problem with the rating system. I'll do a video sometime about how I rate my books because I'm not entirely sure I agree with that rating system, but it's the best way to sort of, in a brief moment, explain how good a book is, I suppose, but it doesn't always work that well. The next book I need to talk about is The Secret Diary of Adrian, aged 13 3/4 by Sue Townsend. I read this book originally as a child and I did absolutely love it. I'm not sure exactly how old I was, whether I was a child or whether I was in my early teens, but either way I absolutely loved it back then. I think I read most of them back then. So when I picked this up on audiobook dead cheap, I was really happy to give it a go. So for those of you that don't know, Adrian Mole is a teenager who, in my opinion at the very least, from this latest re-listen, comes across as a complete and utter idiot. He's just a moron. He's self-absorbed. He basically he's clueless about what's going on around him half the time, in my opinion. He's in his own sort of little bubble and nothing else really matters beyond that. The thing is that I feel like this book appeals to everyone, so as a teenager, or whatever age I was when I read it, I enjoyed the book because at that age I identified with everything he had to say. I was like, yeah, adults are idiots. Oh, yeah, I really fancy blah de blah, I'll never get with them, because like it's all things that every single teenager thinks. But this rereading of it, this listening to it on audiobook, was a different experience. As I said, I listened to it and I thought, oh, you're a bit of a bloody idiot. And another really good example as well is that you can really pick up on the humour and stuff that you definitely didn't pick up on when you were younger. Like, for example, I didn't notice this at all when I was younger. This time around listening, I was really like, oh, So his mum, very early on, I was like, this isn't really spoilery, very early on I was like, oh, so his mum's having an affair. Adrian hasn't actually realised his mum's having an affair, but his mum is definitely having an affair. And it's really obvious, but I didn't pick up on that as a teenager, and he certainly isn't picking up on it. I've got to say I thoroughly enjoyed that book though, and I gave it 4 stars, and I want to pick up the rest when I can. The next book I finished was another audiobook, and that was The Lake, and it's part of a trilogy. It's the first book in a trilogy by Annalisa Grant, and it's a YA contemporary romance, and it starts off really strong. I really enjoyed the first maybe third of the book, and I'd looked at reviews beforehand and I was like, why are some people giving it 1 and 2 stars? It can't be that bad, surely. I don't understand what their problem is. As I got further into the book, I discovered exactly why people have got a problem with it. Insta-love. Very rarely can you justify insta-love in a book, and this was definitely one of those occasions. Now let me jump back first. This book is about a girl named Layla Weston. She has quite a difficult sort of early teenage life. Her parents died when I think she was about 12 in a car accident, which she thinks she's partly to blame for. Then she moves in with her nan and granddad, and her nan's a bit of a battle axe, I suppose is the best way of putting it. She's not very nice, but her granddad's lovely. Anyway, after a couple of years of living there, her gran dies, so then she's left with just a granddad, and that's fine with her. She loves him to bits, although she does have to take care of him. He's very reliant on her, and she's almost the adult in the relationship almost. She's taking care of him while also going to school, etc, etc. So then he dies. So then she has to move in with her aunt and uncle. Her uncle is the one that's blood related, and that's Luke. That was her dad's brother. And then his wife Claire. And they hit it off straight away. They don't know each other very well, which becomes explained later on in the book as to why they don't know each other very well. And so she goes there to live with them. And within a few days of being there, as I said, she meets this guy named Will. And she falls instantly in love, and it's like, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, and oh my goodness. If I hadn't have been listening to this on audiobook, I'm not sure how I'd have finished it. The middle part was absolutely horrific to actually endure. I'd use the word endure. If you don't mind insta-love, you might not mind this book, but otherwise I probably don't recommend it. That said though, I gave it 3 stars in the end because the ending did intrigue me a bit. I want to see how it goes on from there. So I am planning on at least reading the second, probably even the 3rd book at some point in the future, but I'm not going to be rushing to do it. It'd just be a, oh, I've just stumbled across this copy, okay, I'll give it a go kind of thing. Beyond that, I'm not going to chase it down and be all like, oh my god, I must read this right now, because that is definitely not the case. The 5th book I finished in the month of May was another audiobook, The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. So I gave that 3 stars as well. It's not that it was necessarily bad, it's just I'm obviously not the target age for it anymore. I enjoyed reading it as a child, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a reread on audio. Be quite nice to have a little nostalgia trip with it. And I did enjoy it, it just didn't do anything special for me. I'm hoping I don't really need to explain The Wizard of Oz to you now at this stage. If you've not heard The Wizard of Oz, what planet you've been living on. So then the 6th and final book I finished in the month of May, again an audiobook, The Vanishing Game by someone, William Boyd, and I gave that one 3 stars too. That one was kind of a novella. It was quite short to listen to. I quite enjoyed it. It's difficult to kind of explain what it was about, but it was very strange. Messed with my head a little bit. It was quite chilling to read at times. I feel like I might have enjoyed it more if it had actually have been longer. I know that's a strange thing to say, it was a novella, and it's obviously a novella for a reason, so the author's got their reasons for keeping it that length, but all the same, if it had been a bit more fleshed out, I think it would have been a lot more enjoyable. I didn't hate it though, by any means. I thought it was a good read. So yeah, with that, that's pretty much all the books I read in May. I will have full reviews up for all of these books at some point on Goodreads and also on my blog. I'm a bit behind with reviews still. I've been trying to catch up a bit, but I'm still on my way to getting there with those. But hopefully they'll all be up. I'm not going to put a time restraint on them. I'm not going to add any more pressure to myself with catching up on reviews. But I am working on it. written reviews will be up for all these books at some point in my life. There we go. All pressure gone now. So with that, we've come to the end of the video. If you want to let me know what you read in May, if you can even remember, it was so long ago, I'm so late with this wrap up. Feel free to leave any comments down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, then please do. Please help support the channel. Thank you to all my latest subscribers. I'm so appreciative, and I can't believe that any of you actually care what I even have to say about books. So thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.